So 2024 was by far one of the worst years gaming has seen in a while, and it's not surprising considering that every year gaming gets worse and worse. If you consider yourself a real gamer such as myself, with great taste such as myself, not one of these casual fake gamers that just play anything that comes out, just play anything for clout, just play a game for a couple of days and move on to the next, rinse and repeat. I'm talking about a real gamer with great taste, once again, such as myself. You know just how hard it is to find quality games nowadays. I mean, it's like finding a needle in a stack of needles. It's very difficult, but in 2024, there was nothing but trash released left and right, so I figured I'd drop one of my critically acclaimed, highly coveted worst games of the year list. I don't think I did this last year, and I can't remember the last time I did this, but I figured let's bring it back for the holidays. Let's bring back, this video was highly requested from so many people. They wanted to see my thoughts on gaming this year, because there's a lot of games that I didn't cover this year. Because I just got tired of it. I was like, these games are trash. They're not even worth mentioning. So this will be a chance to kind of talk about those games and just explain in great detail and facts, as I always do, just how trash those games truly were. Now, before we get started, make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/theancientpizza. I'm the greatest streamer on the platform. And if you want to see a real gamer play good games and make history on a daily, not weekly, not monthly or yearly basis, come over and check out the streams, man. You won't be disappointed. And if you are disappointed, that just means you're a moron with bad taste. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this list. All right, so we're going to kick this list off with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Oh man, another just DOA dead game. I mean, another garbage Dragon Ball game that Dragon Ball tards and fake anime fans hyped up for it to only be dead. It completely die in less than a month, like every other anime fighter. How many times are you losers going to do this? Really? How many times are you clowns going to hype up some trash anime fighter only for you to stop caring about it almost instantly? Especially Dragon Ball games. I mean, Dragon Ball fans are complete idiots. They continue to buy and play the same trash games over and over again, same story, same arcs. Oh, but come on, young. I mean, like, come on. They added some what if scenarios to the game. Like, what if this happened? So you're taking these garbage YouTuber ideas where there used to be these frauds. I don't know if they still do it, what if Goku didn't turn good? What if he completed his mission? What if Bulma was actually, like, who the hell watches those videos? They actually bought those garbage videos to this game. They're that desperate for new content in Dragon Ball? Are you kidding me? I find it so hilarious how people say my content is boring, my content is repetitive, but you're the same losers that not only watch the most repetitive, boring, garbage content on YouTube, but you're the same losers that have been replaying the same arcs for decades. The story was trash and tried to be different with these trash, once again, YouTube cringeworthy what if scenarios. The gameplay was a boring, repetitive button masher that required no skill to play. These losers were actually making videos, taking this game seriously, trying to make it competitive like it was actually going to be around long. Insane. Graphics sucked, the music sucked, it was horrible. I mean, it was just an all-around failure and flopped instantly. Not even the Dragon Balls could revive this dead-ass game. Next up is Metaphor ReFantazio. Now, I'm not going to lie, this one hurt me a lot. I love Atlas and was very excited for this game, but I am the 100% fact spitter, so I keep it real. Ain't no bias in me. I hate this game. I dropped it and I will never pick it up again. They took everything from Persona and made it worse. I hate the combat. It's boring, repetitive, and clunky. How do you mess up turn-based combat this bad? There's nothing that makes me want to play the game. It's like the combat is so cheap. The enemies are cheap. You never do enough damage. They always have some stupid ability that they get. It's horrible, man. I hate the combat. I hate the battles. It doesn't work well. I absolutely despise the characters. There's no good characters in this game. I despise the archetype system. That is one of the worst systems I've ever seen. It's confusing. It's convoluted for no reason whatsoever. I would have just rather had take a demon, fuse it, or just something. Like, what were they doing with this? The dungeons suck. I mean, every dungeon that you're put in is horrible. It's the same repetitive monsters. There's nothing fun about the dungeons. The characters, once again, are trash. I thought the story was good at first, but then playing more of it, it absolutely falls apart. It just gets bad, and I'm talking bad. I mean, I don't like anything about this game. Not even the OST could save this game. There's a couple of songs, but overall, I'm very pissed off of my purchase. I mean, like I said, I bought the collector's edition twice. I bought the Western collector's edition and the Japanese one. And this is the thanks I get, Atlas? All because of my faith in Atlas, I ended up with a terrible game. All this game did was make me want to play Persona 6. I mean, Persona 3 Reload was far better than this. I can't believe there's people out there that honestly have the audacity to say this game is better than Persona 5. Anybody that thinks this game is better than Persona 5, you're high. You're high on drugs that haven't even been invented yet, that I didn't even know existed. You're high out of your mind because this game is nowhere near as good as Persona 5. I mean, it doesn't even come close to Shin Megami Tensei 5. That clears effortlessly. Like, I would rather have just played Persona, Atlas. I know you wanted to try something new with this game, but please don't ever do this again. Stick to Persona and SMT, please. Next up is Astro Bot. Now, Astro Bot proves Sony is completely out of touch with reality. It proves the PlayStation brand is absolutely dead. I mean, platformers in 2024 is diabolical. It's sickening. I mean, it's crazy to see how many people actually enjoyed this game, praised it, gave it good reviews, and still honestly think that it should be Game of the Year. I can't believe people think that this trash should be Game of the Year. And if it actually does win Game of the Year, all hope is lost. I mean, this game does nothing new or unique. It's boring, it's repetitive, it has terrible level design, it has terrible gameplay, it has a terrible soundtrack. It's just a gimmicky piece of trash. And is that all that gaming has come to? It's just gimmicks? There's always some stupid game that comes out nowadays that has like this gimmick or this thing that they're trying to push, and it kind of rides off of that. It doesn't ride off of great level design, doesn't ride off of just great gameplay. It rides off of some type of gimmick, and that's what these gimmick gamers seem to just love. Gaming is just a laughingstock at this point. Next up is Black Myth Wukong. Oh man, this was the game these casuals wouldn't shut up about for years. They thought this game was going to come out and save gaming, and it ended up being a complete flop. It lost all of its players within less than a couple of days. It was just crazy. Oh man, it ended up being nothing but some boring boss rush simulator gameplay with button mashing, terrible combat, terrible story, if you can even call it a story. It was just all over the place. I mean, bad graphics, laughable soundtrack. I mean, this game really was pushed so hard in the mainstream media. I mean, they wanted it again to be Game of the Year. They wanted it to be this game that just everyone was going to keep talking about. It died so quick. I just shook my head. I was like, no way. Black Myth Wukong is already dead. I mean, these games just don't last, man. They don't. And people will say, oh, but come on, young. Come on, young. I mean, like, come on. Well, it's a single player game. That has nothing to do with it. People are playing many single player games that are very old. This game just doesn't stand the test of time. It's a boring, once again, repetitive piece of trash that only losers actually enjoyed. I mean, the game was dead on arrival. I think it barely made it to like an 80 on Metacritic. Like, what a terrible score. I could never imagine playing games that can't even hit a 90 on Metacritic, or at least high 80, you know, like an 88 or 89. At least that could get a pass, but I could never play a game like this. All of you people that actually enjoyed this game, you guys have no taste whatsoever. Next up is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, not even Tifa's tits were enough to save this one. And I mean, they tried. They tried. Everywhere I looked, all I saw was Tifa's melons. But, you know, they were really just pimping this poor girl out trying to sell this trash game. And it still didn't work. I mean, this game flopped so hard. I mean, they added all this convoluted fetch quest BS content that was never in the original game to try to pad it out and make it longer. And none of this needed to be in the game. It was so bad. I mean, nobody liked this game. The people that said that they liked this game, they were lying, of course, because like I said, the game flopped. They didn't buy it. They just pretended to like it. Like most people online and stuff, they pretend to be gamers. They don't actually play games. You go through their trophies and stuff. 0%, 1%, 0%, 1%. It's just back and forth. Just a bunch of frauds. I mean, it flopped so hard. I thought it was LeBron James out there for a second. Just flop, flop, flop. But this game destroyed everything that made Final Fantasy VII great. It's an absolute terrible mess of a game that only losers enjoyed. And I don't know how. I think there's going to be a couple more parts, maybe one more part, but every part is going to flop. And I wonder if they're going to try to do this with other games too? Are they going to try to remake these games and add a whole bunch of padding and filler to these games that were never there to try to justify, you know, the price or the wait or whatever? I don't know what they're doing. Just because you add more content doesn't mean it's good content. You know what I'm saying? It's just like because a game is open world doesn't mean it's a good open world game. Just terrible. I'm just scratching my head at what they thought with this game. I don't get it. Well, it's obviously weren't thinking. Next up is the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, Silent Hill games have always been garbage, and that is a fact, not an opinion. I will take them over Resident Evil. I think they're the better games. But that's basically like just comparing a piece of shit to another piece of shit. I mean, come on now. This one has, you know, nuts or whatever in it, and the other one doesn't. You know, whatever you choose to differentiate the two, they're both shit at the end of the day. And that's what Silent Hill 2 remake is. It's just a boring, clunky piece of trash with a not even scary story. I mean, everybody was playing this game for Halloween, and that's really the only reason it got attention. If they would have released this game any other month, it would have flopped. It would have immediately flopped, and I think it still flopped in October, which is sad. How you release a horror game in October and still flop? But yeah, it's just crazy to see, man, because I don't know who was asking for this. Like, these remakes, they're starting to get to the point where it's just like, you have to ask yourself, where is the demand for these remakes? There's certain remakes that it's like, okay, I understand, like, yeah, that deserves to be nobody was asking for no Silent Hill 2 remake, and they remake it anyway. Like, it's just, I'm telling you, they're desperate. These developers, these companies, they're desperate. You know, the graphics were horrible, like an early GameCube era game. It was so ugly to look at. Once again, the gameplay and the combat was clunky. The story was all over the place. It made no sense. Once again, the only reason people bought this game is because they needed something to play on their garbage, you know, Halloween streams or whatever. Like, it's sad, but terrible game. Next up is Black Ops 6. I mean, come on, it's Call of Duty. Not much we need to say here except another rehashed, boring, milk-to-death game that only losers play. The same losers, by the way, that complain every year about the game, but still can't wait to play it. See you morons on Black Ops 17. Next up, we have Tekken 8. Now, Tekken 8 is just another game in the long-running franchise of trash. I don't understand why Tekken is still around. Tekken has always been the laughing stock of fighting games. The fighting game no one took seriously except for losers, and Tekken 8 is no different. It's the same boring button mashing, no skill required gameplay you've come to expect from the Tekken franchise. It's so sad we actually have so many iterations of this garbage. This series needs to go on hiatus forever. I mean, the game flopped so hard, no one's talking about it. No one's making videos about it anymore. If they are making videos about it, the videos are flopping. Nobody's watching. The player base is non-existent. You try to find a game online, you take 10 hours to actually connect. I mean, nobody's playing it. So stop making Tekken games. It's like Tekken 7 flop. This Tekken flop. Every Tekken game flops. It's like, why would they sit here and continue making these trash games then? It makes no sense. Terrible game. Next up is Dragon's Dogma 2. Man, this game came and went so fast. I mean, I ain't heard a single soul talking about no Dragon's Dogma 2. I mean, this game is completely dead. It died in the first hour that it released. It's crazy. I mean, the first game was complete irrelevant trash, so it looks like this game will follow in its footsteps. I'd say this game is even worse. I would at least hear some people talking about the original Dragon's Dogma every now and then. I ain't heard nobody talking about no Dragon's Dogma 2. So this game is even worse in that regard, just even more irrelevant. Just another boring, generic, open world fantasy game for losers that have nothing going on in their lives. Like, we haven't seen this before. It's a sleep-inducing piece of trash for fake gamers. And lastly, we have a free-to-play garbage game known as Marvel Rivals. I made an absolutely groundbreaking, compelling video about this game a few days ago, so I'm not going to go into great detail. If you want to check out my in-depth thoughts about the game, then definitely go watch that video. It's a masterpiece, chef's kiss. But this game was horrible. I mean, it's just another boring hero shooter, a completely disrespectful Overwatch ripoff. I mean, how was this allowed to be made? I mean, these people talk about copying and pasting, especially with like other stuff, but then a game like this is allowed to come out and you guys are blindly praising it. If something else would have copied something that you actually care about, this is an outrage, I can't believe that they copied this game this way, but you let it happen here. You guys are hypocrites, man. You really are. Like, how can you allow this blatant Overwatch ripoff to come out and succeed? And it only succeeded because it's free. Nobody would have actually bought this game. Of course, you make your game free, it's going to be successful. But it doesn't deserve the success. The gameplay is trash. Marvel is corny and for losers, let's be honest. I mean, this game has nothing going for it. But you'll play it because it's free, and you'll play it because it's hype. You people are morons, and you'll never amount to anything. But anyway, with that being said, so those are my top 10 worst games of 2024. I hope 2025 can be better for gaming, but I'm not going to hold my breath because gaming just continues to get worse. If you disagree with any of the picks on this list, just know that you're an idiot. You're not in a position to question me or kind of like pick my brain a little bit and try to get into my inner workings and figure out why do I think this and I'm wrong, and I'm not wrong. You're wrong for playing these garbage games and actually thinking they're good. I'm right because I actually put work in gaming. If I said right now, show me your trophies, you don't play games, you just talk about them. You're a fraud. I put hours upon hours into these games. That's why I'm the king of gaming and you're the peasant of gaming.